to the Vilomah Journey podcast for bereaved moms, where each week we sit with super women who have unwillingly joined this club that no one wants to belong to. Yet we get up each day and continue this uniquely unusual and challenging journey with God, connected to and encouraged by one another in Christ. So we started this September with the shock, the silence, the shift, navigating the earliest stages of grief, disorientation, loss of identity, and the loneliness that follows child loss. Our first episodes are all dealing with the day everything changed, sharing our stories, the moment we lost our child and what we remember. And we started with Minister Inez Franklin, whose son Davon transitioned 15 years ago. Then we heard from Minister Chana Johnson, whose daughter Maya transitioned in utero 13 years ago. And in this episode, I talk about the day just 2.5 years ago that I received the call that my daughter Kayla had transitioned in her sleep. Our prayer, ladies, is that you will hear your story somewhere in our stories. The path and the power to live forward. Like, follow, and share the Vilomah Journey podcast. Sow into Vilomah Inc. at $Lisa Weah. Mail your gift to us at P.O. Box 24067, Baltimore, Maryland 21227. Or visit us at www.lisaweah.com if you are so led to plant a seed or connect. Even now, we are preparing for our Vilomah holiday tea on Saturday, November 22nd at the New Bethlehem Baptist Church. You'll be able to register online at www.lisaweah.com. But now, the day that everything changed continues. Be blessed. It was March 11th, 1998. Gave birth to my last child, Kayla Michelle Kelly. And Kayla was an interesting child from birth. She was just such a joy. But the one word that I have to use to describe her that everybody uses is she's my twin. You know, I gave birth to my twin in every sense of the word. She looked just like me, and she always says she acted like me without a filter. So whatever it is I was thinking or wanting to do or say, with no filter, Kayla would do it. And she was just so much fun. She was such a joy, such a beautiful, beautiful girl. And I honestly just a month ago, no, 2 months ago, I just went to the hairdresser for the first time because Kayla was a stylist. And so I couldn't go to the hairdresser. I didn't even realize it. But I was sitting on my sofa. It was Thursday, March 2nd, 2 years ago, 2023. And I was working on my sermon, and I knew I hadn't heard from any of my children. Kayla's my youngest of three, so I have an older daughter and a son. I knew I hadn't heard from them that morning, and I was like, "Oh wow, they're letting me work on my sermon today. You know, nobody's calling to ask, mom." So I said, "Well, as soon as I finish, I'm gonna call and check on Kayla because I knew she'd had a headache a few days ago." And so I'm sitting there working, and my oldest daughter was trying to call. And I was like, okay, let me stop what I'm doing and call back. I called my oldest daughter back, and a strange person answered the phone. And it was an EMT, and they told me they were at the house. They said she had called them because she had found my daughter in her bed, and they were sorry to inform me that Kayla was deceased. She had died in her sleep. And so I immediately, and this is how You can be in shock and not know you're in shock. I put everything down. I threw my clothes on. I jumped in the car. I called Shauna. I called Kayla's father, and my daughter had already called her, and I called her godfather. I called my deacon chair because I said, "Oh, I'm not going to be available for a while." So by the time I got to the house, um, I think everybody was getting there about the same time, and the police were standing outside my daughter's door because if someone dies in the house, you can't go in and mess with anything. They have to wait, for their persons to come in to make sure there was no foul play or anything. My mind was really on my oldest daughter at that moment, because I heard the Lord say very clearly as I was driving, He said, "You have to let her go." And I didn't even get into the questions of God. How could I have been sitting with you working on a sermon where I'm getting downloads from heaven and you left out this bit of information that my child was gone? And, I'd heard so many people say they knew their child was gone. They knew something, was wrong, something was different. I didn't know she was gone. I knew she'd had a headache, and she'd had some health problems, but nothing to suggest that she was just not going to wake up. About 2 months later, I had gone out of town for a conference, and I was away, and I was in my hotel room, and I heard her voice, saying, "Mommy, it's me, Kayla Kelly." And that's when it started washing over me that I was never actually going to hear her say that again. And that, wow, okay, it's been 2 months, she's still gone. And I still get that feeling now. It's like, wow, she's still gone, she's still gone, she's still gone. And some days it's she's still gone. Some days it's oh, she's still gone. And I have just allowed myself to be mom. So, yeah, I have other kids. I have 2 grandkids, but I'm still Kayla's mom. And Kayla's mom is going to hurt till Jesus comes. And I have a right to hurt. She's gone. I'm not going to see her till Jesus comes. I go to the cemetery sometimes. And some days I'll just, stand there for a few moments and then leave. For me, it kind of helps me with this whole acceptance that, yep, she's gone. She's gone. And having these conversations with myself have been very helpful. I think going through the grief educator certification, and even, the therapy and so forth, it's all been helpful. But I would say what's helped me the most is connecting with other Vilomah moms, because the shock of it, the only way to really process it, for me, has been to sit and talk with other people who are living the same horrific experience. I don't know how people process in isolation. I don't know how people process it without spiritual foundation. I don't know how they do it. I remember asking God, what do I do now? What do I do now?
Yeah.
My child is gone. Now what do I do? I was like, I don't want to preach anymore. I don't want to pastor anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do anything. And how dare the sun shine? How dare the sun shine? And my child isn't here. How can it? And now, 2 years in, I'm like, oh wow, the sun is much brighter than it ever was before. It seems so much brighter. The grass is so much greener. Like every experience of life is richer now. But it took some time to get there, because at first I was angry that the earth continued to spin. I was angry that the sun was shining. I was angry that the grass was green. I was angry that people could open their mouths and laugh. And now I need laughter as much as I need air. I need fresh air. I need sunshine. I need green grass. I need everything I can get that will make me smile and make me say, yep. So when I asked God, what do I do now? God said, you keep working till Jesus comes. That's what he said. And that's what I'm determined to do. I'm just keep working till Jesus comes.
Yeah, I think that's really important, because it kind of feels like it's almost like when you lose your child, a veil is lifted.
Yes.
And you can see all the things, including all the weird, horrible things that you just kind of couldn't see before.
Yeah.
And you live in this space of, if my worst nightmare could come true, then anything could happen.
Yeah.
And it makes you really want to hold on to those positive moments, those, the laughter, the joy, like any good thing, because you deserve all the good things.
Deserve it all.
And that's, like all the good things. I get all the good things.
Yeah.
Because you have to continue living.
Yeah.
Which is a lot. I don't think it looks like most people think it does.
Exactly. And I think you can kind of have this feeling like somebody owes you something. Like the most important thing in life has been taken from me. The world owes me, and God said to me, nobody owes you anything. He said, I don't owe you anything. I already gave you Jesus. He said, you owe you something. You owe you something. And so if you ask me what's at the top of my list of things to do now, it's self-care. It's self-care. I am determined to take care of myself at the highest level I possibly can until Jesus comes. That's just where I am now. And I don't apologize for not showing up for something anymore. It's not that I'm being unhealthy. It's that I'm being healthy. I'm prioritizing making sure that when I show up in a space, I can show up as my best self. And if I wake up today and I feel like I need an extra hour with the Lord, or I just need to take a break in the middle of the day, go get my nails done, that's exactly what I'm going to do, because my child is still gone.
Yeah, and I think that people don't realize that it occupies space in your life and in your head, unlike other losses, because we all expect, like you said way back at the beginning, we all expect to bury our parents. It doesn't make it any easier, and I'm not diminishing the importance of that or significance. It's obviously extremely painful. But having lost a daughter, and having lost a sibling, and having lost a parent, it doesn't compare in intensity and pain. It doesn't. And it doesn't mean that I didn't love my dad as much as possible. But the reality of the situation is it wasn't as difficult. Not at all. It didn't even approximate the level of challenge. So that was, easy, still painful and sad and all the things, but it's on a whole different level.
Yeah. I like to explain when I'm talking about pain and trauma. When you're in the hospital, they'll come in your room and ask you, what's your pain level?
Yeah.
From 1 to 10. Well, if you haven't lost a child, then you might label a whole bunch of things in life as, oh, this is an 8, this is a 9, this is a 10, because that's your frame of reference. Losing a child isn't even on that scale. Like it doesn't fall in the 1 to 10. It's like in a whole nother galaxy of numbers. So once you've been in that realm of pain, losing my sibling, because I just lost a sibling and a parent within 6 weeks of each other, within less than 2 years of losing my daughter. And so I have the grace for this because I've already been walking in the level of grace required to manage that. And I think that's what I'm glad people don't understand. You know, I don't want them to have to understand, because you can only understand it if you've lost a child. Yeah.
And if you don't mind, let me say the manner in which other key players of our lives have exited and gone on to glory. My experience was that I had lost my grandmother and my dad inside of 1 week.
Oh,
so I'm at my grandmother's viewing, and my uncle comes in, and I'm believing that he's coming in to bring me some comfort, to be with me. And he comes in, he says, listen, this is in 2005. Listen, you need to get to the hospital because your dad is getting ready to pass away. And as I'm standing there, I'm just like, what? And so I make my way to the hospital, and my dad passes away. But then I go back to the funeral home to finish up the viewing of my grandmother's remains, and losing my grandmother and my dad inside that short period was a wound all by itself. But then exactly 5 years and 1 day, Davon passed. And to this day, what I went through with my grandmother and my dad passing away, Davon's passing there's not even a scale created to measure that level of pain.
It's a whole nother.
It is.
It is.
Yeah, so I realized that the worst had already happened. Not even the day that I make my exit would create such a wound, you know, in my heart. And so I think people owe it to themselves, you know, to cultivate their peace.
Absolutely.
So that they can heal.
Definitely.
By any means, any healthy means necessary.
I like that healthy.
Yeah.
Any healthy means.
Any healthy means necessary. We absolutely must prioritize taking care of ourselves.
And that's really hard for us to do, because historically for women, our worth is tied to how useful we are to other people. And that's, for most of us, I would say pretty much all of us who are over 30, we didn't see it modeled any other way. So we have to, you know, unlearn what we learned and learn new things so that we can learn how to do that, and learn that not showing up for everything, even if I have the time in my schedule, does not mean that I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do, or not where I'm supposed to be, or whatever that looks like, because taking care of myself is a priority. Because going through this life carrying this burden is a lot heavier than, you know, people realize. And sometimes you need a break, or sometimes you just don't have the bandwidth to deal with that. And it doesn't make you selfish, and it doesn't mean that you're not, you know, doing what you're supposed to do. You're still a good daughter, a good mother, a good Christian, even if you're like, hey, I'm not going to be able to come to this event. I need to be home today.
It doesn't make you mean, it makes you wise. And it's important that we understand that when you lose a child, you have to redefine boundaries in your life. You have to redefine, because, and we've talked about this in the other 2 segments, people don't know how to handle you, and you have to navigate understanding what is safe space for you now, and who are safe people for you to be around. And it takes so much energy to be in spaces where you're not sure if you're going to be mentally or emotionally safe. It's true.
It is. And the thing is, people might think they're safe. Like, they don't know that they're not
They
safe.
don't know they're not.
That. So they're kind of offended sometimes because you don't wanna, and it's like,
because people want to make everything okay, and they want to feel okay around you. And so if they sense that you're not okay inside, they want to work to make you smile, make you laugh, because it's really about them
yes,
feeling better. And so part of what makes you so tired when you're grieving is that you have to expend all this energy when you're out around people so that they feel comfortable enough to leave you alone.
Exactly. Yes. 100%.
Yeah, because if you don't put forth the energy to make them feel like, yeah, I'm okay, then they're going to do all this work to try to make you feel better. You can't make me feel better.
Nope.
My child is gone with Jesus.
And really, you shouldn't try, because, like, I earned the right to this grief. This is my grief.
Yes.
I earned. It's all I have. It's all I have. She's not here.
Yes.
Like, if your grief is an expression of the love that you have, like, this is my grief.
Yes.
I earned this
Yes.
grief. Let me be sad today.
My grief educator who certified me, David Kessler, he said, someone asked him, David, how long am I going to live with this grief? And he asked them, how long is your loved one going to be dead?
Yeah.
So it's a matter of learning to grow around the grief, to grow from the grief, to grow in the grief. Grieving doesn't mean we aren't growing.
Exactly.
And it doesn't mean there's something wrong with us.
There isn't.
Now, we're going to talk later about how to recognize when you are in complicated grief and you need some deeper, to do some deeper work. But this is just the journey.
Yep, it's just what it looks like.
It's just the journey.
Yeah.
And we need to be on this journey with others who understand what this journey is like. We can let our hair down and we don't have to expend the energy to make others feel okay around us. If I'm sitting here just quiet like this, know that there's something, going on within me, and the fact that I'm not laid out in the floor pulling my hair out and screaming means, it's okay. It's a good process going on, and I need to do this. Thank you for joining us on the Vilomah journey, beloved. The journey continues next week. If this session has added value to you, we need you to do two things. Share it with at least 5 people you know, and utilize the information on your screen to sow into the Vilomah Journey podcast so that we can continue to reach millions of Vilomah women all around the world. We love you. Be blessed.